Transitioning into retirement goes beyond financial preparation. It includes emotional readiness, solid social connections, and a significant mental shift. Understanding the importance of psychological preparedness, retirees must identify new sources of fulfillment beyond work, developing a sense of purpose in activities and hobbies that resonate on a personal level. Emotional readiness involves adapting to a new self-identity and finding balance in life without the routine of work. Building and maintaining relationships post-retirement can lead to a more satisfying and supportive retirement life. Engaging in community services, joining clubs, or volunteering offers opportunities for social interaction and personal growth. The mental transition from a saving to a spending mindset requires careful adjustment. It involves embracing a new lifestyle that balances financial security with the enjoyment of accumulated wealth. Thoughtful retirement planning ensures a retirement experience that is not only secure, but also rich and fulfilling. Jamie, if you can get us started, how do you advise clients to prepare emotionally and financially for the new retirement reality?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. The interesting thing about retirement, and you'll probably hear it from all three people here today, is that it's so different for everybody. And the way that I like to describe income planning for retirement is it's trying to hit a moving target in the wind, and that your target is what you want in life. So it's going to be, how do you want to live? How do you want to give back to your kids, your alma mater, or your charity? How do what do you want to spend time doing? And then I say, right, it's moving because we don't know how long you're going to be in retirement, right? Can you phase into retirement? Can you work part-time in retirement? Are you forced into retirement? Do you have one day of retirement and get unlucky and pass away a day in? Or do you live 45 years? And so it makes that challenge of distributions very hard because of that. And then the last part, there's wind. And I know that the show notes at the beginning showed some of it, right? Secure Act, Tax Cut and Job Act will expire most likely at the end of 2025 or get re-upped, but there will be changes along the way. So we have to be dynamic in our approach. I like to say, think about, the certainty of today, but with the uncertainty of tomorrow in mind, anytime we're setting up a plan.
Yeah, it's interesting that it is a moving target. And I think that's part of the challenge for a lot of people to wrap their head around. How do you best plan for the uncertainties of tomorrow? Connie, you had a traditional retirement and then your teaching career at University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins. What surprised you about the transition into retirement?
Oh, I was ready to retire. I had so many dreams because I was a college professor and I was always inspiring my students, engineering students, to pursue their dreams. And I realized that I had a lot of dreams that I hadn't pursued yet. So that's why I retired. And I actually retired because I taught technical writing to engineers, and I taught them how to write reports that would reflect their brilliance. Okay. And, grammatically and everything. And every assignment I gave them was to make them better prepared for their future career. For example, I gave them an assignment to write an instruction manual, because that's what you need to do when you're an engineer. And as I was doing it, I had a little idea in my head about an invention. So I actually wrote my own instruction manual right along with them and learning from them. Then I had them write a brochure for a company that they wanted to work for. And I gave them 6 assignments. So when they were finished, they were well prepared to be in their job. But what I realized is they were going to have these incredible jobs at age 21. And I, with a master's degree, they were going to be earning more than twice my salary with 40 years of experience. So I happily retired so I can pursue my own future.
That's a great exercise. Did you have a plan to become an entrepreneur, or did that come later?
Yeah, well, while they were doing their assignments, I was getting ready for my invention. And actually, my invention was for older people who, if you've gone out with an older person, you know that we have trouble reading a menu because the print is too small and the
Too dark.
restaurant's too dark.
Yeah.
Right. So I invented this product, and it's called Tip and Split, and it has a magnifier on it. It's got a light on the back, and it can also figure out a tip and split the bill in 3 seconds. So I invented it, and I was all ready to go. So that's why I retired.
I love it. Very practical.
Mm-hmm. And people retire for many reasons. Some people retire because they hate working. I actually loved my job, but it inspired me to do some of the things that I was inspiring my students to do. So I was excited to retire.
When you saw the differential between what your students would earn in their first job compared to what you were making, were you able to eclipse your former salary with your new invention?
Yeah, exactly. I was. I was a writing teacher, so I wrote my first book, and it was called How I Got My Product on QVC, The Today Show, The View, and more in my retirement. So
That is very cool.
I like to dream, and I like to dream big.
It's good to know that your dreams can continue. The retirement
Exactly.
doesn't mean that you are, just laying down on the beach and doing nothing.
Exactly. Everybody's got their own idea of retirement. Well, I became an entrepreneur at age 70. And most people would think, what are you doing? Most people want to enjoy it. So my kids say, why don't you just sit down and relax? But I think there's only so much Netflix that you can watch. And I'm very encouraged by being an entrepreneur in my retirement.
Ross, I want to ask you about your research. Like, how does retirement impact cognitive aging? And what is the impact of becoming an entrepreneur at age 70 versus watching Netflix and doing nothing else?
So much. Well, I wrote an article for Entrepreneur Magazine, and it's called 6 Reasons to Pursue Entrepreneurship in Your Retirement. One of the reasons is you stay active. Like, look at me. Actually, I'm 76 years old now, but look at me. Here I am. Okay. It keeps you mentally alert when you have a business in retirement. You're always having to learn new things. So my latest thing is about marketing. My goodness, I grew up with a typewriter. So I have to learn all these things, but I'm not afraid, because when you keep mentally alert, it keeps your brain moving. And I think it might help me prevent dementia. I just can't see me slowing down.
Connie, yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, this is so awesome. I mean, I'm so impressed. There's most of the win is gone from my sails. I was going to talk in those terms, but here we had a living example of someone who successfully retired and did exactly what she was supposed to do. I mean, it's congratulations. I think you're the perfect example of how retirement can be of huge benefit to us. In terms of the cognitive impact, if you look at population studies across the world, you will see that retirement seems to signal a decline, a slightly elevated decline, but this is sort of on the population level. So individually, it's really hard to pinpoint how people will retire and how their trajectory of cognitive aging will continue. Some stay completely, some can maintain their cognitive function. Connie might actually be one of those that actually improves. In 4 years, you could be a super ager. It's a group of individuals, older adults, who do not change in terms of their memory function between the age of 60 and 80. It's this new category that is being studied. So, but others do find that retirement brings a decline, and we really don't have a good handle on what that is. There's one theory that seems to be studied quite a bit, is the theory of mental retirement, which actually presents decline as something that occurs when someone decides to retire. So it's not the retirement itself, it's just the decision to retire. So you kind of disengage from your work, you start planning for your retirement, just maybe you buy that big chair and bigger screen so you can watch more Netflix that way. But people just sort of disengage, and you see that all of a sudden, 2 years before retirement, there's a change in cognitive function that kind of continues into retirement. But again, it's not necessarily difficult, because you have people who successfully transition, particularly if they have a good plan. In terms of not necessarily in terms of finding new ways to keep the brain going, it's important as well. But what people forget about is the fact that you need to have a structure in your life. You lose structure with your job. Not only that you lose the identity, you gain a new identity, but the structure, the routine, doing something from Monday through Friday, so that when Saturday comes, you're excited to have a day off. Like if every day is day off, there's really nothing to look forward to. So that could be one of the unexplored areas that we can pursue to really help people retire successfully in terms of cognitive health.
Yeah.
When you talk about cognitive health, I did a lot of research about retirement, and I found that in the first 6 months of retirement is where people start getting all kinds of illnesses, all kinds of ailments. And, so I think that there's a way to combat that. I'm sure I'm going to get, some of the ailments that come with old age, but they're going to have to fight hard to conquer me.
And now it's really a challenge in terms of time management, organization, structure. You're given those things when you're working. When you have to work at certain hours and so on, you lose that. So can you really recreate it on your own?
Before you retire, you're working for somebody, and your boss may be annoying. And after you retire, you're your own boss. So I can put up with my own annoyances. So anyway, I have a different attitude about retirement than most people. And because I have a different attitude, I did a TEDx talk. Are you familiar with TEDx talks?
We are.
So my TEDx talk is encouraging retirees and soon to be retirees to think about entrepreneurship. And when I gave that talk, I have a lot of people who say, oh my goodness, my dad walks around the house and has nothing to do. I'm going to have him listen to you, because I tell them that, you just, age is a number, and you don't have to think of retirement the old-fashioned traditional way. We can make our own retirement.
It's interesting because I have an uncle, my Uncle Fred, who was a very, very successful professional in an insurance company. He was a portfolio manager at an insurance company. And he came to find that when he retired, he said, you know what? I always had a hard time getting up at 7 a.m. and going to work. He said, the minute that I retired, I was up at 6 a.m. like naturally, because he was really looking forward to the day. And he was doing all the things that he was passionate about. So he was like trading things on eBay. He was buying and selling things off of eBay. He's a collector. He was traveling, and he saw that difference. But it's interesting to see what that mindset is and how that impacts you. Let's go to segment 2.